You were taught to relax when someone smiles, to lean in when their voice softens, to assume warmth signals goodness. And so when they spoke gently, you listened. When they looked sincere, you trusted. When they acted friendly, you dropped your guard. But you've been fooled more times than you can admit, not by open threats, not by loud cruelty, but by softness, by faces that seemed safe, by words dipped in honey but laced with motive. That's the wound you can't explain because it didn't bleed. It didn't bruise, it just lingered. You assumed sincerity based on tone. You mistook behavior for truth. But Machiavelli knew better. He wrote that men deceive willingly and that appearances matter more than intentions. He didn't say this to be cynical. He said it to be free. Because the world isn't run by those who are good. It's run by those who appear good while playing a deeper game. Welcome to Mindscape, where we delve into the depths of the mind and uncover the secrets of control and supremacy. In this video, we'll uncover the secrets of Niccolò Machiavelli, the man who understood that true control comes not from apparent power, but from the ability to read the game behind the masks, to know when to appear and when to disappear, and how to make others unpredictable. Come with us to learn the top 5 Machiavellian rules that will enable you to outsmart anyone in your life and control the course of events with confidence and intelligence. Let's get started. You once believed that being constantly available was your value, proof of loyalty, love, and strength. So you showed up time and again, even when unnoticed, even when undeserved. You stayed present out of principle, because that's what you were taught. Consistency is a virtue. Availability means care. But what if it's all an illusion? What if your endless presence is exactly why they take you for granted? Machiavelli saw what most miss. Power fades when it becomes predictable. Influence weakens when it's always at their fingertips. Familiarity breeds forgetfulness. That's why the mightiest move isn't aggression, but disappearance. Not weakness, but strategy. Absence teaches what presence never can. It teaches value. It teaches weight. It teaches consequence. When you pull back your attention, they begin to recognize its worth. When you stop showing up on demand, they start questioning why they ever expected you to. Absence is not emptiness. It's compressed power. It's silence heavy with meaning. You fear leaving will make them forget you, but what if leaving is the only way they'll remember? The mind doesn't chase what it owns. It chases what it risks losing. Always there, you become furniture, predictable, silent, unnoticed. But vanish, become scarce, and you become a mystery they can't solve, a void they can't fill, a presence they can't replace. You were never meant to be constantly reachable. Availability is not virtue, it's a weapon, to be wielded with precision, not desperation. What if you stopped initiating, stopped giving more than you receive, became deliberate in your appearances, intentional in your absences? This isn't a game, it's refusal to be played. You feared stepping back meant being forgotten. Machiavelli would say the opposite. People remember those who disrupt the rhythm, who create tension, who dare to vanish when taken for granted. Let them wonder where you went. Let them sit with the echo of your silence. Let them feel the shift when what they thought was permanent suddenly isn't, because constant presence makes you invisible. But disappearing at your peak relevance makes them crave you. That craving, that absence, is control. That's the difference between being wanted and being used. So withdraw, not from bitterness but clarity, not from pain but power. Let your absence say what your presence never could. You're not here to be summoned. You're here to be sought. You're not always present, and that's exactly why you matter. You've been living in someone else's story, performing roles they wrote, shaped by their expectations, their labels, their comfort. You thought you were noble, adjusting yourself to fit their narrative, shrinking your needs, softening your voice. But slowly, they defined you, not by truth, but by control. You played along, believing being understood meant safety. But Machiavelli knew, control the narrative, control the person. It's never about truth. It's framing, perception, owning the reality others must answer to. You responded to a script not yours. They labeled you the overthinker, the dramatic one, too much. Defending yourself only reinforced their frame. Every protest became proof, every explanation a plea. You didn't break the box, you built it from within. They knew, not always consciously but instinctively, manipulation needs no malice, just comfort, and your clarity threatened theirs. Your truth shattered their illusion. So they reframed you. Your boundaries became selfishness, your silence guilt, your distance betrayal. You let it happen out of fear of misunderstanding. You believed peace comes from being agreeable, but Machiavelli didn't teach peace. He taught power. Power isn't in being liked. It's in being unshakable, especially when misunderstood. You don't need to be seen clearly to act rightly. You don't need their approval to reclaim your voice. You don't need to fix their misperceptions. You need to change the frame. What if you stopped defending yourself, stopped justifying every choice, stopped chasing their version, and started creating your own? The shift is fierce, not outward, but within. You lose the need to be believed. You stop performing for approval. You become dangerous, not by attack, but by silence. You no longer flinch at mislabels. You stare through them, silent, unmoved, untouchable. This is dominance, controlling the frame. When insults come and you don't react, the frame cracks. When provoked and you stay still, illusions shatter. When reduced and you expand in silence, they question everything they thought they knew. You don't need to be loud. You need to be sovereign. Let them call you cold. Let them call you arrogant. Let them call you calculated. These are fireworks meant to distract from their loss of control over your story. Let them burn bright. You remain grounded. Because when you control the frame, the world doesn't define you. You define the world. You thought patience was strength, calmness in insult was growth, giving space showed maturity. But what it really shows is elastic boundaries, negotiable respect, silence as permission. They test this repeatedly to see how far they can push. And when you don't snap, they push harder. Machiavelli understood long before psychology named it. Tolerated disrespect grows. It never fades. It escalates. No consequence means permission. Passivity means acceptance. Every time you let it slide, they climb higher on your back. You were taught to wait. Weigh your words. Wait for the right moment. But power never waits. Power strikes with precision, no drama, no warnings, just enforcement. You thought intensity was petty, but indifference is the true weapon. A boundary enforced coldly, quietly, without reaction, wounds deeper than any speech. No begging for understanding, no demanding apologies, just ends the game. You don't scream, you vanish. You stop explaining why it hurt. You stop opening doors when what's needed is exile. Disrespect isn't an act, it's a test. How much of yourself will you lose to keep me comfortable? Your answer sets the tone, spoken or swallowed. They'll call it a joke, say you misunderstood, but your body knows. Your intuition didn't flinch without cause, and the more you excuse it, the better they speak your language. Compliance. Machiavelli said, "Never do your enemy a small injury, because if they survive, they will retaliate." Your enemy isn't always a declared foe. Sometimes it's the friend who plays in your silence. What if this time you don't wait? What if the moment they cross the line you go still, poised, not passive, not hurt, done? What if your boundary isn't a discussion, but a wall they hit hard and fast? Let them feel it, the absence of access, the sharpness of indifference, not rage, but detachment, not noise, but void. Enforce boundaries without emotion. It confuses. They expect drama, tears, talk, not silence that refuses resolution. A closed door, never begging to reopen. That's the point. You teach respect not by words, but by refusing to be where you must explain your worth. They say they love you. They say they care, but they know how to reach you, know your timing, tone, soft spots. They don't need force. They need access. They've learned your triggers, your softness, guilt, backpedaling. You hold your own leash, tightened by your empathy. You confuse availability with exposure, intimacy with openness. But Machiavelli warns, never show the full shape of your thoughts, even to those closest. Not because closeness is wrong, because predictability is surrender. Once they know your rhythm, no force needed, just familiarity. You made it easy, answered all questions, explained every silence, justified every choice, transparent in trust's name, vulnerable not to love, but manipulation. Once they know your script, they direct the play. You think it's compromise, it's choreography. Control disguised as intimacy. Every same response they note, every quick forgiveness recorded. You weren't in a relationship. You were a ritual, a pattern to trigger. They don't fear your no. It comes with soft returns. What if you became unreadable? If your reaction wasn't their script? If silence meant finality? If kindness stopped bending into obedience? They'd be lost, scrambling, trying every trick, jokes, tears, absence, affection. But unreadable, they lose the map. Without a map, no control. People don't want to know you. They want to know how to move you. What makes you flinch or fold? The more they know, the more they navigate you like conquered land. Machiavelli said, "Never let others know the full extent of your mind. The mysterious are respected, the transparent are tested." You don't have to be cold, but be unpredictable. Stop being their manual. Become a presence they must consider, not a formula memorized. Let your detachment confuse. Let silence stretch. Vary your reactions. Be unreadable, not to punish, but to protect. When they can't guess your next move, they stop playing. That's when you lead. Not by noise, but mystery. Not by volume, but untouchability. You enter a room. No one knows your thoughts. No one tracks your gaze or measures your silence. You don't explain. Don't soften for comfort. Don't tailor yourself for acceptance. You're unreadable. In a world that thrives on predictability, that's untouchable. This is the transformation, not rage nor revenge, but sovereignty. They don't know how you got here, how you became this still, sharp, quiet. They reach for levers that once moved you. Nothing. You broke the pattern, severed the script. No response to guilt, no yield to praise, no flinch at rejection. They once knew which version showed up. Now they guess, and guess wrong. Machiavelli said, "It's better to be feared than loved." If you can't be both. Not cruelty, presence, weight, silent gravity that makes others choose words carefully, not from threat, but from feeling what you no longer give. You don't chase, don't beg, don't perform. That unsettles them. You're immune to tactics, delay, confusion, passive aggression. You see it all. You just don't play. No longer a character in their game. You bend the rules. You discovered power that doesn't announce itself. It shifts the air. Your absence taught what presence couldn't. Your refusal to engage became your final boundary. Now they speak differently, not familiar, but cautious. People don't fear words. They fear the unreadable, the unpredictable, the uncontrollable. You're no mirror, you're a wall, a silence they cannot climb. From that silence, you speak louder than ever. This is your evolution, quieter, sharper, precise. Detached from being seen, understood, liked, in that pure power. They call it arrogance, they call it ego, but they react to the version lost, the version that doesn't flinch, explain, or shrink. You are sovereign. You move by choice, not reaction. You speak by design, not habit. You walk, not to be followed, but because you don't need to wait. Let them feel it. Let them remember the access lost. Let that echo in the silence you leave. Because this is reclaiming the self. You become the question no one answers, the door no one unlocks, the storm that never raises its voice, because it doesn't need to. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Mindscape so you never miss more deep insights on power, control, and psychology. Tell us in the comments, which Machiavellian rule intrigued you the most? Have you ever tried applying it in your life? Share this video with your friends, because true intelligence is always being one step ahead. Stay strong, stay mysterious, be the master of your game.